guys, how's it going? So we have a few things to work on today. We are going to be planting a couple of things out in the garden. We've got some new obelisks to put in the vegetable garden, but we are starting up here in the sun porch today because I just got a brand new plant this morning that I need to pot. And there it is. Pineapple plant. They just got these in down at the garden center. I was really excited about it and wanted to bring one home and give it a shot. In fact, my dad called me and said, we got a load of citrus and tropicals in. There are 3 pineapple plants, which are kind of cool. So if you're interested in one, I would come down and grab one before we put them out. So that's what I did. I ran down this morning and grabbed one. I've tried to root pineapples before. I've seen people do it successfully. I think I've only tried 2 times. Is it just once or maybe twice? Anyway, both times fail, so I thought that I might have better luck with one that's already rooted. And it might be one of the very first plants I actually put out in the Hartley. We're gonna leave it in the front sun porch today because the conditions in here are incredibly similar to the conditions in the Hartley, and it'll get plenty of sunshine, which is what it wants. But I do have some soil up here in my pot, so we're just gonna get this done really quick. So to my understanding, pineapples want a really well-draining soil. They do not want to sit in water, so we're gonna go ahead and plant in the cactus mix because it is fast draining. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. I did read on the back here that it says to repot the plant into a 10 to 12 inch pot, which is, I think, that looks like a 10-inch pot to me. Kind of looks like a little bit of a big pot for that size of plant, but we're gonna go with it because that's what instructions say. So you can see what kind of pot I have here. It's a rolled rim terracotta. I really like the look of these. I love terracotta, but having this little bit of extra detail kind of elevates the container, I think. And then I do find it is important what kind of saucer you're using, depending on where you're gonna keep your plant. Because this one is going to be, well, first in here and then in the Hartley, I wanted a saucer that wouldn't allow water to go through. If you have an unglazed terracotta saucer, they're porous, so they allow water to go in and out, and it can still damage the surface that you put your plant on. So I usually look now for the ones that have been glazed inside. And if you can't find a terracotta saucer that has been already glazed, we did put together a video on that. Well, boy, it's maybe like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I can't remember. And I tried a whole bunch of different products, and several of them worked really well to glaze the inside. So you can do it yourself too. Anyway, that will protect our surfaces should we decide to put it on something that really can't handle it. Okay, so let's just get this done quick. A little bit of soil first. Okay, then I'm gonna make a well in the center. We might need a little bit more soil in the end. A little wobbly. There we go. See how these roots look. Oh. It hasn't rooted a tremendous amount, but they look healthy. You know, I'm really not gonna fuss with this root ball at all because it hasn't rooted in very much. In it goes. We're gonna need a little bit more soil. Okay, we're gonna try to do this without making an enormous mess. All right, it's looking pretty good, and I didn't make that much of a mess, thankfully. This whole room needs a little bit of a cleaning, though. A little bit of soil on the floor. Also, who do you suppose did that? Anyway, I am gonna top dress, probably with a bark, but I'm gonna wait to do that until I can kind of gauge how long it takes the soil to dry out. And it's easier to tell if there's no top dress on there. I mean, you always want to finger test anyway, you know, stick your finger down in the soil just to see if just the top layer is dried out or if it's dried out even further down. But I think it's going to be important to really get the watering right on this one. So we want to shoot for not letting it dry out completely, but also not letting it be waterlogged. So, you know, kind of that fine line. So we're just going to be checking on it really frequently, especially in the first days, just to kind of gauge that soil. And of course, when it gets warmer out and hotter out, we'll have to water on a more frequent basis, which won't be a problem at all. The tag did say to fertilize on a monthly basis, so I'll probably be doing that right along with my other potted plants. And then it prefers a really bright spot. So it prefers sunshine, maybe a little tiny bit of shade, but it'll get, this is south facing right here, so it will get sun for a good portion of the day. It's kind of overcast today, so it doesn't look as sunny, but it's typically pretty sunny in here. And then I can position it in a place in the Hartley somewhere where it can get more light. Anyway, I'm really excited about this. It'll be fun to see what happens. If you guys have any pineapple growing tips for me, I would love to hear them. Anyway, we're gonna head out into the garden now. I've got a crabapple. I wanna get into the back garden where we just planted all those evergreens. On our way out though, I have to show you how these daffodils are doing. Do you remember when we dug these up from behind the Hartley? Look at how gorgeous these pots are. I cannot believe how beautifully the transplanting went. I am just so thankful. They've been such a bright spot up here. And there's that one right there. These are Avalon daffs. They've got a really interesting color. So kind of that lemony yellow on the outside, the outer petals, and then the cup is kind of a creamy yellow. They look really pretty with these blue violas. He's got such a hard life. In the backyard now, we're gonna be planting a tree right over here, but let's talk quick about this giant trench. There's Russell. Russell, kitty kitty, what are you doing? Checking it out. Look at this, you guys. Look, it's such a mess. Honestly though, all exciting stuff, and it'll be crazy once they're done with everything, once they fill in the trenches. It almost, I mean, it doesn't look like nothing happened, but it's crazy how quickly things come back together. So they are currently, and we're gonna tour you through the whole thing before they fill the trenches in, but we're getting water and electric run to the greenhouse, which was planned for last year, last fall, and it just didn't happen. It was pushed out to this spring, which is totally fine. It gave us more time to think. Erin is a really good forward thinker, thinking like, since they're gonna have all the big machinery here, all the equipment, we may as well have them just trench, because it's kind of a straight line before we put the gardens in back there. Let's just trench a line back to the back corner of the barn for electric and water, which is something we've struggled with in this back corner. We have water, but it's down, like far down the way. And so it's always a pain to drag a big, long, heavy hose because a hose link doesn't reach as far as we need it to. So it was a really good opportunity for us to have this done at the same time. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. Okay, we're just gonna step right over that. Now, when we planted this back border, which everything's doing really well so far, I'm really happy about it. So it starts here with the birch tree, and then we've got a spruce and a pine and a cedar, another spruce, and then, you know, so on and so forth. I asked Paul if he would make a hole with the auger right here. Even though I didn't have the tree here on that day, I knew that I wanted to put something in this section that had red leaves and possibly some blooms. So I found a crabapple. Let me show you the tag. It's called a perfect purple crabapple. Let me see if I can shade the tag so we can see it better. Whoop. Maybe. What a nerd. Look at him. Russell, what are you doing? He's taking a dirt bath. Anyway, grows 20 by 20. It has dark purple leaves, which you can see here. So pretty. You can see its blooms too, that kind of pink, rosy pink color. Oh, love it. It's also a zone 4 and has purple red fruit right here, which I'm gonna love having that winter interest back here. Right directly behind it, we do have grapevines, which I'm just gonna let grow. Everything that's here, we're just gonna let grow. In fact, I've got a heptacodium right there. There's an oak leaf hydrangea, some iris. Flower bed will start about where the wood pile ends, and then it's gonna come out really quite far. And this whole area won't have grass in it. We'll have a sharper line between wherever the grass pathway ends up and where this border starts. But we just want it to be full of beautiful things. 4 seasons of interest. So honestly, the stuff that's already planted in here can just do its thing. And we're gonna be adding to it, of course. So, you know, I'm thinking of adding some taller, skinny evergreens, maybe like one right back in here, maybe something accent right here, maybe a big, right in here, like a big black lace elderberry in here. I think that would be beautiful. I've actually got a lilac too, an Old Glory lilac that I think we'll plant today back here as well. Anyway, I think that this is gonna be really easy. It's like a massive hole for that tree. I'm gonna kind of snug it up to that side right in there. And we've just got all this loose fill dirt. I'm gonna pop some biotone in there. We'll run some drip. So you can see how we've done this. It's a 3/4 inch line, and that originates down in a landscape box. It's right over here. It comes right there, and then it just like cruises down this whole line of trees. And what we've done is tapped into it. So we went with a 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch coupler. So this side's 3/4 inch, this side's 3/4 inch, this side is 1/2 inch. And then we went in with the brown 1/2 inch that's got emitter holes every 18 inches and just cruised around each one of the trunks there. So super targeted water. I think it's going to be much more efficient back here. You know, we've always struggled with the grass in this area, and it'll be nice just to not have as much grass back here. We've got plenty of it in front. I'm going to pull this out a bit. Just kind of wanted you to be able to see, without the grape in the background, kind of the shape that this tree is right now. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Boy, he's just full of it today. Russell, what are you doing? Oh. Ow, your claws are sharp. Okay, let's get this one in the ground. Oh, it looks so good. I love it. I can't wait for those grapes to leaf out too. That'll be really pretty. But in terms of like bigger things in here, I think it'll be positioned just perfectly and it'll contrast everything beautifully. So we have our green here, like the deep green. We'll have the purple color here, the blue here, and then in the fall, we've got the birch here, which will be bright yellow, and then this will be purple. It'll be so pretty, and the Sensation box elder is always kind of an orange color. So you can see the tools I used. Of course, the Biotone fertilizer. I did toss 1 bag of Land and Sea in there too to kind of help fill the hole. And then this is the rake I used. Honestly, you guys, this rake, it's a Fiskars rake. I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of a heavier rake, but it has like this thicker spot right up front, and if you need to drag a lot of stuff, like heavy stuff like dirt, it works really well. Most rakes just have like a single metal kind of bar that run across here, and I think this kind of is like a shovel slash rake. So we'll need to run drip to this one, and I am going to water it in today, but I do want to plant the other lilac first, which, let's go grab it. It's going to go down here. And here it is. Isn't that beautiful? And I don't know if this is how the leaves come out every year, but they're kind of like a purple green. And look at the blooms. It was in bloom when it was down at the garden center, so of course I couldn't walk past this and not grab one of them. They had a whole row of them. Oh, it took all my strength not to want to plant a huge hedge of them, but they smell so good. Love the color. They grow about 8 to 12, I think 8 to 12 feet tall and about as wide. They're a pretty good sized shrub, and they're a zone 5 through 8. Lilacs for us do really well because they're really tolerant of high pH soils, which is what we have. So it's kind of the perfect plant to put back here. I'm thinking of tucking it in right in here, like right here. Oh yeah. Oh ho ho ho. Won't that be so pretty? So we have the pine here, the birch here, and it can fill in this space right here. Oh, still have room to pop like a skinny evergreen right back in here should we want to do that, but there is a cedar nearby as well. And the layering in here is just gonna be beautiful. So you can see the lilac, the cedar, the pine, the prairie fire crabapple. There's a black lace elderberry, another birch, blue spruce, and another pine down there. Just loving it. And you can see the boxwoods are still back here. We still haven't decided. I just think they're so beautiful. And I think based on your comments, we've got kind of a 50-50 split. 50% of you are with Erin and think we should remove them in order just to create something different back here. And 50% of you think we should keep them, which is what I kind of want to do. We'll see what happens there. We still have to remove this white fence right here. I think that will open things up a lot, and that might change things. It might change the whole appearance of this space. And there it is. Oh, it looks so good. I was gonna initially plant it right over here, but I think having it equidistant between this trio of trees and letting it fill this space in will be really, really nice. And then we'll get to see that beautiful purple color from both sides really well. So let me go this way. Yeah, look at that. Love, love it. And it's super close to our drip line, so that will be an easy one to run. And we've got some white iris back in here, as well as some peonies that we'll fill in. It'll be fun to have just these little pockets of pretty back in here because this won't be an established border for several years. It'll take a while for the evergreens to grow and the trees to grow and fill in. Shrubs, some of them that we put in will probably grow a little bit faster, but it'll be fun to have some dimension in this bed. I've also had a couple of helpers out here this afternoon. I'm gonna touch that pine tree. Yeah, it's kind of prickly a little bit. Anyway, the last thing I want to do today is put some obelisks in the raised bed garden. They're in boxes still in the barn, so we'll head that direction. Okay, here we are. And what we have here is the SX Square obelisk, 5 foot, from Gardener's Supply. And yeah, that's what it looks like inside the box. So let's get these out. We'll be able to see it much better once we get it out of here, and we'll lose a little height. You can see right here, this is where we stick them down in the ground. But these are to replace the obelisks we've had in the garden for several years, but over time, and with me planting such heavy things in them like tomatoes, they have bent a bit on the bottom, so we had to take the bottoms off. The tops are still good. You'll see what I mean in a minute, but that's where these are going because these feel so much sturdier. Oh, awesome. So we need to do this 3 more times. Oh, those look so good. And I do plan on planting tomatoes again in the 4 corners of these beds because it's been a couple of years since I've done that. And now that we have something that's more sturdy, that will hopefully not bend under the weight, both of the tomatoes and then the high winds we get, that'll be so nice. They fit this space really nicely too. Now for indeterminate type tomatoes, like this is a fine tomato frame. There are 7-foot sizes available too though, I think, which might be kind of nice if you're wanting to let them grow a little taller, or if you're growing a rose on them or something like that, you can do a taller obelisk. So here's a look from this side. Oh, love it. You can see we have a bunch of stuff coming up, bunch of little seedlings. It was really warm there when I planted everything, and then it got cold for like a couple of weeks. So everything kind of stunted a little bit, but I think we'll have some action here in the next few weeks. And as far as the little obelisks that were in there, so these were a 5-foot size as well. And the tops were perfectly fine. Like that looks really good. It was just the bottom section that was bent. So out here, we've got a peony that I transplanted that's doing fantastic, by the way. Beautiful buds on it. And this is gonna be a perfect peony support, I think. So I put one on here and on the peony that's down on the other end. And then the other 2 ended up on 2 clematis, both of which their supports got taken away when the fencing and things got torn out. And so now they've got something to kind of lean on until we have the garden kind of put back together. Oh, that is just such a fun look though. I really love the structure in this space so much. And that is going to be it for today's projects. It's been a beautiful day out here. I still need to go water in the tree and the lilac that we planted along the back border, but that's going to be such a fun area to watch develop. It looks especially pretty when you stand kind of down on one end and look straight through kind of the rows that we planted, and you can see the different layers that are going on. I'm really enjoying kind of the evolution of this space, because a lot of these things that we're doing now, like it's creating a kind of a bit of a mess in the garden, but we're going to be able to make the traffic flow through the garden make sense to us and make it a little bit more practical for how we want to use the space. And the formal gardens that are going to go in around the greenhouse, they're going to be really fun. I cannot wait. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.